Okay, we're going to do a hack to a Sony S600. We're going to do a 4-wire hack, but I'll show you how to change it to a 3-wire. You just skip a step. So we'll get going with this and show you how to hack this S600. Okay, first we're going to start. We'll open up the battery compartment, and there's a screw right there in the corner. We're going to take it out. We're going to lay that screw down. Screwdriver better. There's another one here at the bottom, and we're going to take it out. 4 screws all together. One over by the tripod holder. I'm going to take it out, and we need to pull back the USB. There's one right here. And it's out. Okay, now we want to open up the battery door, and I'm going to separate right here. Now you do want to make sure there's no chip in there, it won't come apart. I'll pull that apart, and over here I want to kind of grab right there, pull that out, and I pushed it back together. I'm going to grab there, pull that up, and that'll unlock this top here. And pull it right out. Now I do recommend taping the LCD down, and that's what we'll do next. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of piece of tape right here, right there. Push it down. That's going to keep that LCD from flopping around. Now with the battery door open, we can take this front cover off. So I'll have to lift up a little bit over here. That'll unlock this corner. Now you got to be very careful taking this off. This part right here is your flash. This part right here is your flash capacitor. You do not want to touch that. Now I do recommend discharging the capacitor, and I have a resistor here that I made up. And all we're going to do to discharge is short these two out. That way we don't blow anything up, we don't get shocked, we don't get hurt. Capacitor's discharged. Now what I'm going to do is open up the lens cover all the way, so that it's all the way open. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to run my externals. This part of the board right here is where you want to go into our externals. This is negative, this is positive. Okay, I got my wire and I got it tinned. And what I'm going to do, now you got to be careful with your finger, because you stick that over there, you're going to get whacked. And you get hit by a S600 slave, or I'm sorry, an S600 capacitor, it's going to hurt. We'll not forget it. So we're going to take it up in behind these ribbons, and I'm going to twist it so that I can solder that on. Okay, I'm going to hold that wire down there right on that solder point. I'm going to solder it in, and that's my ground. Now my positive is right here, and I'm going to grab it, solder it, Now, trying. There we go. And that's, now what I want to do is route my wires. So I'm going to route this wire around this speaker right like that. I'll route that wire right around that speaker. I'm going to lift this little metal bar. I'm going to slide my wire right underneath it. Maybe. That's it underneath. And as you can see, I'll go right around that speaker. Okay, now I can close the camera up. I can put my cover here. Make sure my door is open or I won't be able to close it. And I don't want to close it all the way tight. I just want to, so I don't stick my finger over where I don't want it. And now we're going to do the hack of the camera. Now I need to remove this screw right here. Now let me pull this bar off. Let me get the screw undone. So let me pull that bar off. I want to flip the bar over, and there's a little catch right there. I just want to pull that back just a little bit so I can get that board off, and I can pull that board right off. So now it's away from this part, and I can lay that board here. I usually squeeze a little bit to get it so it'll hold for me. Now I'll take an X-Acto knife, and right in this little corner there's a little bit of rubber there. I want to take it off. You can use this one or that one, it doesn't matter which one you actually use for contacts. I'm going to get that little piece of rubber also exposed to my solder points. Okay, I'm ready to put my power wire on. That was one I just cleaned off. And I'm going to tin my wire, I'm going to dip it in that paste. I'm going to dip it in from Radio Shack, it's rosin soldering flux. I'm going to dip it in there. And I'm going to lay that down. Try to get in position here for me. All I'm going to do is lay that down right where I just cleaned that off. That took. And that's my power. Okay, I'm going to have a piece of wire here, and I got it tinned. I'm going to dip it in my resin. And the spot that I want to get to is right here, and it's really small. Now what I got to do is make sure I don't get any on the metal housing. And you'll see that little spot right there. So I have my tinned wire, and I've got it dipped in resin. All I got to do is take that iron and just touch it. And you can see I'm on. And that's my shutter. Now, I've done a lot of these hacks with S600s. And one of the most critical parts is the routing of the wires. And that's why I soldered the way I soldered. Because what I want to do is I want to take these wires, and there's a slot right here. I'm going to take those wires Now I'm going to put them through that slot and pull on them a little bit, get them there. Get the other one. Put it through. Because I certainly think this is a whole lot harder than the soldering part. Because I gotta get this board connected. Now, what I do is I'll take this board and I pull it up. I gotta get it away from the front, so I gotta separate just a little bit. And I gotta pull that board out so I can get a hold of it. Pull it so I can put it on. And snap down. Now, what I need to check for, I want to pull these wires so they're not sticking up like that. And they're not cooperating. There it went. Now what I'm looking for is, if you see this right here, that orange wire is in there. It's kind of like it's a hole that a piece sits in. So I want to make sure that wire is not in that hole. So now I'm ready to put this together. Now, down in here you'll see like a little white piece. It's like it's that basically like a shelf for that LED to sit on. You need to get on the LED in front of that, and you need your door open. Your camera will go right together. And if you're not over top of that white holder with your LED, this will stick up and don't want to go together for you. And what I do now is I take the wire underneath where my screw would go, take my wire I'm trying to do this so you can see. This is not as hard as it looks, it's just so you can see it. Okay, now that I've got my wires routed, I can put this screw back in. Behind there. Now I can cut my two wires. That goes to my black and red wire, goes to my lens cover. Get them out of there, throw them away. Then I can route these two down and outside the tripod, where the tripod holder would go. Let's get my external wires out of the way first. Pull them through. Okay. And those through. And we're ready for the next step.